Okay, so good to have you back. Weekend Politics every Sunday, and this is the first edition in the month of September. Now, I'd like to quickly introduce our guest on the show tonight. By my immediate left is Ignatius Oli. He is a social entrepreneur and good governance expert. He's the Secretary General Cross River in the Diaspora Creed, and also Commissioner responsible for technology, transfer, innovation, Cross River Diaspora Commission, CRITCOM. IG, so fondly we called you. Good evening and welcome to Weekend Politics.
Thank you very much, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, Cross Riverians.
Yeah, and also not to forget that IG resides in Germany, and he's here in Calabar to, he will tell us what he's here from. I was privy to what he came here to do as a first day. I also like to introduce Ojong Nkimosoro. He is a genetic engineer from Saitama University, Japan, traveling researcher at Top Faith University, Akwa Ibom. He's a diaspora and great ombudsman. OJ, as if only called you, good evening and welcome to Weekend Politics.
Good evening, Joe. It's a pleasure being here. Good evening to all the viewers, and I'm happy to be part of the show today.
Absolutely. Yeah, OJ resides in Japan. So we have great Cross Riverians. Now, I think I'll quickly like you to tell us your local government.
My local government in
Cross River State. Yeah.
Oh, that's Ecom local government.
Ecom, okay, IG?
Mine is Obudu.
Obudu. So these are all Cross Riverians that are making Cross River State very proud. Now, gentlemen, the last time we had this interview was the early part of 2023, and it's more than 2 years now. Now, let's quickly look at Cross Riverians. The last time you came, in 2023, before the election proper, and now that we have 2 years, and some fractions into a new government, how has it been? How would you rate Cross River then and now? IG, let me start with you.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's a great opportunity to be in the show once again. I remember, yes, as you said, we were here prior to the elections, and it's good that we're back here. I would say there's been a significant progress in terms of the environment. The road networks have changed, and I've looked at the edifice, the Cross River State Library, so beautifully renovated by His Excellency, and a lot of repairs. You can see that the greeneries are back again to Cross River State. This is something that we must commend the government and all of the actors of the day. There's still more to be done, but on the whole, I see a significant improvement from what I saw before when I came in 2023.
Absolutely. Ojong, let's also hear from you. Then and now, how would your rating be?
Yeah, my sentiments are similar. It was a penultimate show to the inauguration of His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State. Yes, very clear, visible improvement, especially with the state library, the stadium, and town planning and the environs of Calabar. It's a little bit sweet and sour because I think we were working into the subsidies gone day, and so yes, we've been taking a beating economically, but I can see the upside, especially when certain elected representatives of the people are truly doing a yeoman job, and so I think that's a win on one side.
Absolutely. Okay, so Ignatius, let me come back to you now. Now, how does it mean? How do you feel like being a Cross River and living abroad?
Exciting. I mean, the thing with Cross River State is that it grounds you, right? So you come from a state that you've been taught hospitality right from when you grew up, when you went to primary school, to secondary school, to university. And then when you take that culture with you abroad, you're not only different in all of the things that you're doing, but you are an example to so many other diasporans and people from the other culture who look at you and like, where do you come from? They want to learn your style of dressing. For me, I'm always very cultural when I'm outside of Nigeria. I hardly wear suits the way I'm wearing now. I prefer to be dressed the way you are dressed when I'm outside of Nigeria. And people usually ask questions, oh, I love that. Where did you get that from? And then use that opportunity to talk so much about your state, to explain where you're from and how that came to be. So it's exciting to be a Cross-Riverian abroad. It's exciting, although we're not so many out there, but it's exciting.
Okay, so John, let me get you, because in exchange made mention of culture. He talked about cultural inclination. Now, Japan is way far away from the central, from the central part of Cross River that you're from, and you know that there are a lot of festivals there at the center. We just came back from the Leboko recently, and just over the weekend we had Obudu celebrating their New Year festival. Now, how do you living abroad? How do you feel that how do you connect back to your roots when it has to do with these cultural inclinations?
Well, yes. Just reminding us of how much we miss home wherever we are so far. Even last weekend was my hometown, Akbarabong town. They celebrated their New Year festivals. Thankfully, like being a Cross-Riverian, and most of what Cross River represents is out there. I think online, the biggest long-form videos content consumed from Cross River globally is always about Obudu Cattle Ranch. And so if that's always a rallying point, it helps for easy conversations. So normally people if they put Cross River, they will see Obudu Cattle Ranch, and then they are drawn towards it. And it's it's a subject to talk about and to converse. So yes, connecting with other Nigerians, because Cross Riverians, we come very few and far in between when we travel out. So we are lucky that being a Cross Riverian or Calabar is very cosmopolitan. So we are like a magnet to different Nigerians from different ethnic nationalities. And so that helps us bond more with them, and that helps us feel more at home, I would say. And maybe even in through soft power, even find a way to even impress upon our other African diasporans that, dwell with us in Japan or anywhere in the world. But yes, that's very important, especially in Japan, that is at the farthest east country, and it's not really Anglophile in any way at all.
Okay, so Ignatius, now looking at your brief profile here, you are a good governance expert. Now, my question is, what areas of development would you love Cross River State to pay more attention to? At least you've been here, you've seen this government in the last 2 years plus. So what areas would you love more attention to be paid to as far as development is concerned?
There are quite a lot of areas that I would love the current government to pay attention to. Regarding the environment, right, we still need to figure out how we can make use of the waste that we generate. How we can get home users who generate waste to be part of the waste to wealth processes. So government, the current government needs to pay a little bit of attention, and so good enough. In the diaspora, we've collected a pool of experts, Cross-Riverians who are experts in several fields, and they come in very handy. They would come in very handy to support the government of the day in setting up all of these processing plants that can help to move our waste to wealth. So we create a cycle where we recycle, where we reuse and reduce plastic waste. So I would want the current administration to do something more in this area. With that, of course, employment would come, and there'll be much economic activity as well. Our transportation system as well, it's a bit concerning. I mean, I see a lot of minibuses in the street. I would like to request the Commissioner for Transport to up the ante in terms of organization. These minibuses themselves are good, but this is the 21st century. There are more innovative ways that we can get buses on the street, and delineate bus stops where buses can move passengers from one point to a particular point and create order, because Cross River State is a tourist destination, and we should have that kind of order in our transportation system. So this few, again, we have diasporans that are willing to come forth and bring in their expertise into this area. I want to see us have good hospitals, hospitals that people would be very confident to say, oh, we're going to do health tourism in Cross River State. The Obudu German Hospital should be put to good use, with the ranch up there. These are places where people can go through therapy, within nature and all of that. So all of these areas, environment, the transportation sector, the health sector are pretty much key for me. Much investment also should go into education, because education is key. You don't have an educated population, then and we don't have a reasonable population. So let's pool more resources into the area of education and basically human development. Yeah, these are the few things I can think of at the moment.
All right, great. Thank you, Ignatius. Now, Ojon, you are a traveling researcher with the Top Faith University.
Yes.
Now, given an opportunity, what would you like to, contribute back home here?
Okay, I mean, based on that focal point, for instance, I'm taking my material, my body of work, which is the asymmetrical biotargeting of mosquitoes, and the research work is what I'm doing in Top Faith, and also at Elisade University in Ondo State. Just to create like an exercise relatable to us, we the diasporans, I think foreign direct inflows that are coming in, repatriation inflows that are coming in from Nigerians who are based abroad is now even exceeding close to billions of dollars. I can't have the right term. And we are happy about it, that the monies are coming in, but most of the time, some of these people, it also is an exposure to short-term lending, because sometimes people abroad are borrowing so that they can even send money back home. So I would encourage maybe the government and regulators and people who can really make things work, that we should create different entities, almost like opportunities or investment zones, investment opportunity zones, because it's not enough to just send money back on a welfareist economic model. You're not sending money back to take care of your granny, to take care of school fees, to take care of this. But let us create structures in place, because if people are going to be borrowing money wherever they are to send back home, let it be worth their while. So at the immediate, just like how he's talking about investments, I know of things that the current government is doing, and I encourage them to do more, especially when it comes to credentialing and perfecting of land papers and property papers, so that people in the diaspora can send back money and invest in things that we appreciate. I believe that with that kind of beneficiation, they will be more incentivized to send almost like a higher level, rather than sending maybe the $100. There will be more an incentive to send things above the $1,000, but mostly for investment. So that way you are creating a foreign direct investment system that is local based, since it's of your people who are choosing to invest back at home.
Okay. So
just one moment.
Okay.
You spoke about the land documentation and all of that.
Processes.
I think there's an ongoing process now with the state government, where I think with the Cross River State app, you can already do most of these things that you have spoken about. So you just need to go and download the Cross River State app if you're on Android or iPhone, and you will see when you log on to this Cross River State app, you can process all of your land documents online. But I would love to see more digitalization as well. But this land documentation are all online now in Cross River State.
Great. Okay. IG, you sit pretty as commissioner responsible for technology transfer and innovation in Cross River Diaspora Commission. What level of innovation and technology do you think can push Cross River State further? Maybe the next 2 years or the next 5 years.
In terms of technology, I think the state is already doing so much to leverage technology to move forward. As at when last I checked, I understand the governor of our state, His Excellency, can actually look at his phone, pick his phone, and know the amount of revenue that has been generated from Cross River State on a daily basis. So this kind of technology is available in our state at the moment. Technologies that are tracking the trucks, the number of trucks that go out of Cross River State and all of that. So all of these have been digitalized. But it appears there are some pushbacks from certain ministries, and they need to adopt the use of these technologies that have been tailored, to suit several parastatals in the state. Just like he mentioned about lands, So if you go to the Ministry of Land, there's a whole architecture, digital architecture that is being done there. And I myself am developing a tool, for the Cross River State House of Assembly. I was going to go there to present this tool to them tomorrow, where all of the bills that they are enacting, people can find all of these bills online. You don't need to go to the Cross River State House of Assembly to ask for certain bills. So I have developed this tool myself. So these are the kind of technologies that will move the state forward. We also need technologies where somebody can pay. You want to get on a bus in Cross River State, you just pay through your app. You don't have to come and pay as cash. If you're coming to participate in our tourism activities, the December tourism activities, there are ways we can decentralize all of the processes within that carnival and digitalize those processes. For example, the bands, all of the bands. If I'm coming from Germany to participate and I'm in Passion 4, I should be able to register online digitally. I should be able to pay for my regalia, all of the things that I'm going to wear, all of the tourist sites that I'm going to visit. I should be able to make digital payments on this. And these are areas where I would want parastatals and MDAs to take very seriously in going forward. So technologies of this nature, technologies that will drive our waste to wealth processes, technologies that will project agricultural produce in our state, processing plants and all of that. These are the kind of technologies that I feel will bring our states to where it really needs to be.
Okay, so Ojo, from what I have here, you are a genetic engineer, and there's something the First Lady is doing, which is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yeah.
Now, what are those chances in your area, maybe in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that Cross Riverians can plug in the diaspora community?
In the diaspora community,
Yes.
support Cross Riverians
Yes.
over here. In the whole vast field, we have possibly one of the most highly valued, I think, polytechnics back in the day when it came to the engineering field as well. And now, right now, I think it's University of Cross River. So I think it's well, tailor-made strategic support in certain areas in STEM field, and I think it has to start from the high school, the secondary school level. And there's always the engineering part, but there's also the design part as well. So there's always a conflict. It's even in mathematics these days, we even have a particular term called behavioral mathematics. So it's not exclusively have to be on computational basis, because remember, AI is even helping us that way. But when it comes to the whole designing fact, it means that you can get people who are somewhat artistic or humanistic in nature, and you can bring them into that field. So I'm happy to hear that it's the First Lady. So that way there's the beauty part to the hardcore maths and hardcore science that is behind it. And my field of genetics engineering, yes, I think we've been taking a beating these days with GMOs and the like, but it's very much needed, especially in an agrarian economy that we have here. We are an agricultural belt, enjoying being in 3 vegetative zones, the swamp, the rainforest, and even the early part of the Guinea savanna. So we have so much potentials here, and so we need tailor-made, cutting-edge technology in this field because we are already dependent on it. And so let us invest in what we know best to do.
Okay, great. Now, let's quickly delve into some deep political talk, maybe in the next few minutes. Now, there is a bill as concerning diaspora voting. Now, a lot of diasporans have been disenfranchised when it has to do with taking part in elections back home here. Now, Ignatius, let us look at this bill. Do you think it's something that it's either dead on arrival, or it's something that will help Nigerians in the diaspora or Nigerians in the diaspora that would love to, choose a leader, even when they're in Japan, when they're in Germany? So let's look at this bill. Is this something to be celebrated, or we feel it's dead on arrival?
The introduction of this bill, it's a very welcome idea, because people need to choose their leader, to be part of a process that produces whoever becomes or emerges as the president, House of Assembly, or governor, or even a councillor, local government chairman, and all of that. So it will give diasporans a sense of belonging, to say, hey, this is my identity, and I've been able to participate in that process. So a sense of ownership when that government is in progress, So diasporans will have this kind of that kind of feeling. I mean, I can speak for myself that I would have that kind of feeling. But to come back home, to participate at that particular time during elections may be cumbersome or maybe difficult, for that diaspora. It could be financial challenges, it could be parental challenges, so it could be work-related challenges. So you could have all of those challenges. But if diaspora electronic voting is introduced, then it's a welcome idea, and I'm pretty much sure that diasporans would be excited or are excited that the Federal Republic is talking about this bill today. So I'm excited, and I don't think it's dead on arrival. I think it's something really exciting, and it's commendable, and we celebrate the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and indeed all of the states that are promoting this idea. So it's not going to be dead on arrival.
Okay. Now, Ojo, as an engineer, let's look at the data. We have millions of Nigerians in the diaspora community. How do we generate data to ensure that, okay, these are Nigerians and are taking part in this diaspora voting? Talk to us on that. What's the contribution on that?
Well, the data is already there because different countries must always have a consulate or the Nigerian missions. And so if you're a Nigerian and you have a Nigerian passport, definitely they have your data. Maybe if you're a Nigerian that has dual citizenship. And like I told you, there are people who, for instance, even they identify as perseverance by consciousness, but that's a different thing. That's a different ball game. So they do have that data. Like, it's just to definitely find a way to have a centralized system that electronically will give them access. The truth is that when we're out of the country, a typical citizen have many opportunities to be involved in very vivid public services, things like jury duty. There's things like where you would help in tax, help in traffic, and all of those things. I think Nigeria is almost very reductive that you just go and vote. We don't really have different opportunities to act that way. So when we are there in this world where we see a lot of participation, jury duty, ballot duty, things like that, or maybe when you were in NYC, I think that's another vivid time. Yeah, of course, people in that fondness, especially the way that we follow politics, especially during the electioneering period, it seems like a really disservice that people over there almost seems an injustice that they don't ever have the time to even cast their suffrage that way. So yes, mission houses, consulates, they have their data, and if they cannot even electronically give us access, maybe to some extent, if the mission houses can arrange something that could suffice. After all, we heard at the same vein that They are planning to give suffrage to even inmates in our prisons too as well, giving them the right to vote. So the same plan that they might have administratively to give them those opportunities to vote, I think also the mission houses can do so.
Okay. Now, finally, let's quickly get to know from IG. The same would be your own question. Now, how can the diaspora community influence politics and governance back home here?
Oh, yes. I think the diaspora community can influence good governance measures, and accountability and transparency by participating in certain processes in the state. And there are several ways in which this can happen. For example, we have the Cross Riverian in the Diaspora organization at the moment, which is an umbrella organization uniting all other organizations, Parakpa organizations, so to say, bringing them all under one umbrella, and so we can harness their expertise for the growth and advancement of Cross River State. The manner and form in which members of CREED carry out their own activities, some of the programs that they are embarking on in Cross River State can become a culture that other institutions in the state can copy from, So it's not just about setting up committees to carry out certain responsibilities, but those committees, after carrying out those responsibilities, are they accountable? Have they used the funds judiciously? Were the objective of those programs, were they met? So what were the processes that were followed, to carry out those activities? Other institutions can see, oh wow, see how this organization have used little resources, to produce better results. That's one of the ways. The other way we can contribute is to come back home and participate in the process and begin to shape certain good governance processes. And we can already see this with Right Honorable Peter Ode, His Excellency Right Honorable Peter Ode. He's a diasporan himself, lived in the United Kingdom, and today he's at home supporting His Excellency Senator Prince Bassio to shape good governance processes in Cross River State. And he started this from the Cross River State House of Assembly, So there are both direct and indirect ways in which these processes can be shaped. And I think we're already doing this with participating in most of the processes. I myself am back home working with CREEDCOM, and just by being in CREEDCOM the last 4 months, I've been able to bring the International Organization for Migration to Cross River State, and a bilateral agreement was recently presented to the government of Cross River State. These bilateral agreements have programs, that will shape migration governance and begin to teach Cross Riverians the very essence of migration, so they become good ambassadors. It's going to talk about border management and all of this kind of processes. They weren't here, so with us coming on board, we are beginning to contribute in our own little way to support all of the processes in our state. Yeah.
OJ, quickly, 30 seconds.
Good thing he brought up the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Peter Ode, as a diaspora. Very, very clear-cut, because I think one of the things we bring as diaspora is to help demystify things. I think there are a lot of airs and a lot of smokes and mirrors when it comes to politics here. The whole idea is public service. Clean, honest, transparent public service. And so if we can mirror it to people back at home, because we have a very impressionable influence on people here. You traveled out of the country, it looks like if there's a golden gloss around you. But instead of enjoying or basking in that, use that to say, no, listen, this is how we can do things mathematically and cleanly. So I'm happy with having a diaspora here as a deputy governor who is just this very simple guy, but very effective, and he's been making his mark. And happy for the recount and the fact that now we have a template in crossover in diaspora commission, so that we can interface more, especially with CREED, the earlier body that exists over there for crossovers globally. So with that, we would come back with very, very cogent things that would truly develop and be impactful back at home.
Thank you so very much. So this is where we have to say big thank you to the two gentlemen here on the show, Ignatius Oli, social entrepreneur and good governance and smart, Secretary General, Cross Riverians in the Diaspora CREED, and Commissioner in charge of Technology Transfer and Innovation, Cross River Diaspora Commission, CREEDCOM. Thank you very much, IG.
Thank you so much for
having me. Great time always having you around.
Thank you so much.
And also we have great pleasure talking with Ojong and Kimo Sowo. He is a genetic engineer from Saitama University, Japan, and a traveling researcher at Top Faith University at Akwa Ibom. He's a diaspora and CREED ombudsman. Thank you very much, OJ, for your time on the show.
Thank you so much.
And we hope that anytime you get back home, ensure that we host you on our show. Now, we would be taking a very short break. We have standing by from Manchester, UK, Uchenna Victor Moses will be joining us via a telephone interview. He will be talking on artificial intelligence in politics and governance. Stay with us. Weekend Politics return shortly. Don't go anywhere.